Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast, Our New Narrative. And today, as you notice, I got the Detroit Bad Boys t-shirt on. So I'm gonna go a little hard to paint, as I like to say. I want to give a shout out. Well, before I get a shout out, I want to say like, share, and subscribe. If you're getting anything out of this channel, I've been getting a lot of advice from some great people. I really appreciate it, and we're going to try and help the channel's production and keep me in line as far as my ranting and raving is concerned. So today I'm going to try and keep this short and concise as possible. With that said, today is July 14th. So happy birthday to somebody out there. And with that said, here's the shout out. It's going out to Mr. Palmer across the pond from me over in England. He wrote a great email to me, really appreciate the email. And he also pointed out two websites to me. So today I'm going to share one of those websites with you. And I'm going to get started now. Let me share screen. And it's called Discover New Discourses, right? So you guys don't need to see all my stuff. So translations for the wokish. Yeah, so we all know that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And I believe this website is great sunlight. So I'm going to talk about two translations that they have up there, or as I call them, definitions. So we're going to start. I'm just going to show you what today, 2020, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 definitions for racism. So I'm not going to go into that. I think that says enough for me. I mean, if you need to figure out what type of racist you are, there you go. If you're not sure you're a racist, if you're pretty sure you're not a racist, I'm sure, you know, the woke folks will tell you that you are. But the one I really want to talk about is social justice. All right, so before we get into what they're saying, you'll notice one of my favorite people, Dr. Robin DiAngelo, is there. I'm being very sarcastic, people. We're going to get into that. But before we get into that, we're going to go into, we got to talk about racism, the definition for racism, the greatest definition of all time, the GOAT, the G-O-T. All right. So here it goes. Racism is the lowest, most crudely primitive form of, guess what? Collectivism, groupthink, right? It is the notion of ascribing moral, social, or political significance to a person's genetic lineage. The notion that a man's or a person's intellectual or characterological traits are produced and transmitted by his or her internal body chemistry, which means in practice that a person is to be judged not by his own character and actions, but by the characters and actions of a collective of ancestors. Now, after hearing that, if you're a racist, if you feel you're a racist, you know, you can do something about that. But why do you feel that way? We all find ourselves in that category. And I'm not saying you're all racist like Robin DiAngelo, but I'm gonna give you a couple of examples before we get into how racism is used politically, basically. So let's just say you want to play a game of basketball, and you at the court with a couple of your buddies, but you're 2 men short. So this is 2019, pre-COVID. So 2 men short, you see a white guy and a black guy just walking past. They're the same height. Let's say they're 6'2". They're wearing athletic clothes. Not necessarily, they're just not in the shirt and tie. They're, you know, they're in jeans, maybe a t-shirt. And they're just walking. Which one are you going to choose to help you win the basketball game? You don't know these people, right? Now, if you choose the black guy, are you a racist? Do you belong to the Klan? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that certain patterns you've seen in your lifetime has led you to an assumption that the black guy may be able to play basketball better than the white guy. What's that assumption based on? Is it something you read out of Mein Kampf? No, it's based off of what you see in the NBA, on TV, in magazines, on the news, right? It's your life experience. I'll give you another example, that doesn't involve human beings, but you'll get it. You see, as a kid, you see a snake somewhere. Your parents are like, hey, snakes are dangerous, they bite you. Some of them are poisonous. You don't know which ones are, so just avoid them, right? So now as an adult, you're in your backyard and you see a snake. Do you run up to it and say, oh, I wonder if this is a non-poisonous snake? No, first you react to seeing a snake. There's potential danger there. Why? Based on patterns you've seen throughout your life and stories you've been told. And the safest thing for you to do is to assume that that snake is dangerous. Now, if it's not dangerous, okay, it's not dangerous. But your first reaction to it is, okay, this has potential for danger. It's just based on life experience. Nothing you necessarily did, right? Just what you've heard, what you've seen. Now, am I saying that every time you see a black person, you're supposed to treat them like a snake and assume they're dangerous? No, Andre didn't tell you that, right? But I'm telling you, what I am telling you is we all make assumptions on people that we don't know, right? I think that's just human nature. You cross into a negative when you go beyond assumption and you judge people based on their color, based on the color of their skin. You don't give them an opportunity to find out what their character is about, okay? So now with that backdrop, we'll get into this here. Social justice usage, and you guys can read it, but I'm gonna just drop into somewhat of the definition here. To clarify our definition, let's start with the concept social justice. While some scholars and activists prefer to use the term social justice in order to reclaim its true commitments, in this book, we use the term critical social justice because regular social justice ain't enough. We do so in order to distinguish our standpoint on social justice from mainstream standpoints, which is basically their standpoint is now mainstream. A critical approach to social justice refers to specific theoretical perspectives that recognize that society is stratified, i.e. divided and unequal, in significant and far-reaching ways along social group lines that include race, class, gender, sexuality, and ability. Critical social justice recognizes inequality as deeply embedded in the fabric of society, i.e. as structural, and actively seeks to change this, okay? The definition we apply is rooted in critical theoretical approach. While this approach refers to a broad range of fields, there are some important shared principles. Principle number one, all people are individuals, okay? The sky is blue, I get it, you're stating facts. but they are also members of social groups. Again, grass is green, okay, stating facts. These social groups are valued unequally in society. There's an assumption there. Valued by who? I can guarantee you a group of Klans members don't value a group of African Americans as highly as they value people within their own group, meaning the Klan. I can guarantee that, right? But can I guarantee that some Klan members don't value, white people as high as they value other groups of Black people? I can't guarantee that. That's an assumption. I mean, whatever. Social groups, on to the next. Social groups that are valued more highly are have greater access to the resources of a society. Okay. Social injustice is real. Okay. Exists today and results in unequal access to resources between groups of people. I don't want to point this out, but just think about that original definition of racism. That definition of racism that I started with. Those who claim to be for social justice must be engaged in self-reflection. Hey, there's that individual again. About their own socialization into these groups, their positionality, okay, and must strategically act from that awareness in ways that challenge social injustice. This action requires a commitment to an ongoing and lifetime process of donating your money to causes that actively fight social injustice. Oops, I just put that at the end of the sentence. I know that's what they meant, but I know they just left it out. It was a mistake. Okay, so based on the definition of racism that I told you, racism is the lowest, most crudely primitive form of collectivism. Social justice is all about the collective. That's all it's about. And what they do is compare group one with group two, which is in and of itself not necessarily bad, depending on the situation. But there's no agency here, meaning for the individual. They recognize that all people are individuals. Big whoop, okay, the sky's blue, grass is green, paint dries slow. All right, but when it comes to your own agency, what they're asking you to do is recognize the racist in you, right? And of course, you're gonna fall under one of the 6 categories. So you definitely gonna be a racist. So you're gonna feel guilty and you donate to people like this and buy books by this woman. And I don't understand. It really makes me mad. But what I want to point out is the lack of agency involved in social justice. So I'll come up, I can't say I've coined the term, but hey, till I hear otherwise. I wrote a book about it, and the book is entitled Our Two Societies. And in that book, one of my conclusions was social equality is more important than social justice. Why? Because social equality requires agency, individual agency. I don't care what group you belong to. If you are Black, white, LGBTQ, handicapped, Asian, whatever, rich, poor, everything starts with the individual first, right? Agency. So here's my definition of social equality. First, it is not an inalienable right. Social equality is an inalienable responsibility that no man, woman, person, entity shall interfere with, right? So what does that mean? It basically means, like I said, everything starts with you. If your life is not going the way you want it to go, first, look here first. right? Then go and figure out, you know, did I do everything I can do? Did I make the right choices to get me to where I want to go? If you feel, yes, I did, but there was this racist cop in my way, then okay, there's laws in place, sue this guy or woman, keep a camera on you, you're gonna get paid because you were pulled over for driving while black. No other reason for driving while black. Your agency was to drive the speed limit, obey the signs. You're not worried about what other people can and cannot do. It's on you first. So social justice is a way to get groups together. This is the effect of it. You can get people, individuals, to look at themselves as members of a group first. And then you compare your group to another group, right? Especially in the black community, right? Well, white people make more money than black people. Well, you know, okay. What about you as the black person? And then on the opposite side of that, if you're a racist white person in the Klan or something, you're like, well, white people have created more than, you know, black people, Asians, whatever. What about you? What did you do? So if we take social equality as the standard instead of social justice, I think we'll have a better place to live. You have a lot of unemployed politicians, I'm sorry, but I think we all get along. We'll all be able to judge each other by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. And if you are judging somebody by the color of their skin and you happen to choose the black guy over the white guy when playing basketball, you might end up in a situation like the Japanese people who chose me over the white guy when I was living in Japan to play basketball. They were sorely disappointed because I can't play basketball. I'm just a basketball fan. And with that, I'm gonna let you go. Let me know what you think. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Please share the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And with that, I hope you guys have a great day. And peace, love, and all that good stuff.